So this is an official announcement from Nova Scotia, August 5th, 2025. News release: travel, activities in woods restricted to prevent wildfires. With this very helpful graphic, I'll just make it bigger. Stay out of the woods. The province is restricting travel and activities in the woods because continued hot, dry conditions have greatly increased the risk of wildfires. The restrictions effective as of 4 p.m. today, August 5th, include hiking, camping, fishing, and the use of vehicles in the woods are not permitted. Trail systems through woods are off limits. Camping is allowed only in campgrounds. These and other measures are in place on provincial crown and private land until October 15th, or until conditions allow them to be lifted. The fine for violating the restrictions is $25,000. And if I can just have my screen back for a moment, I will find the second link. 5 days later, New Brunswick made a similar announcement on August. This says August 9th, but the announcement was official as of August 10th. Stay out of the woods. New Brunswick closing crown lands due to extreme wildfire hazard. Those living in and visiting New Brunswick are being told to stay off crown lands due to an extreme wildfire. I can't read today. Due to an extreme wildfire hazard. On Saturday, the province announced as of 12 a.m. Sunday, August 10th, all crown lands will be closed. This means, just like in Nova Scotia, hiking, camping, fishing, and the use of vehicles in the woods are not permitted. Trail systems through woods are off limits. Camping is allowed only in campgrounds, but the public is being asked to consider their camping plans until such time the forest risk decreases. This is an unprecedented situation and it is getting worse, said Premier Susan Holtz. So we're here on a Saturday afternoon to ask all New Brunswickers to get out of the woods, and to stay out of the woods. It raises questions of what public lands means, right? Crown lands is different in Canada. I don't know as much about what that means, that these are crown lands as opposed to what would be public lands in the U.S. A few other provinces in Canada did not declare being in the woods off limits, but imposed fines for setting fires. Fines for setting fires seems like...
You mean setting fires like controlled fires?
Controlled fires, any kind of fires.
Yeah.
And this seems like a reasonable measure to me. It's not that the objection that I'm having, and I know that you have had, to what is going on in Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, is to the idea of any restrictions at all. But the idea that you can't walk in the woods and that is being considered now a privilege and a luxury, and that you just have to sit on your hands and put up with it until the people who have made the decision decide that the risk is gone, feels very much like what happened during COVID. Very, they can point to hot conditions, dry conditions, fires that they've already had to put out. And so it doesn't seem arbitrary at one level, but the moment at which they impose such draconian measures is somewhat arbitrary. And the fact that they feel that they can, and that they should, and that they did, is extraordinarily terrifying, I would say, to those living in the places where you are now being told you just can't go into the places that you thought were public. What does public mean?
Yeah, when I saw the initial announcement, and I almost wish we had the initial announcement.
This is the initial announcement.
No, the initial video announcement in which this was presented.
Oh, this is the initial announcement here.
The demeanor of the guy who is announcing this, I found even more alarming. The sort of sense of superiority, and that he is on the side of right, and that it is all of the little people who can't manage not to start fires that need to be controlled in the most draconian way.
Yep.
It reminded me actually of the, I forget who the vile local government guy was in Australia during the pandemic, who was telling people how miserable he was going to make their lives if they didn't get the vaccine. But it had that kind of feel to it. Yep. And, who knows what these things are. There's a, kind of person who delights in controlling others. And it may be, that petty bureaucrats have discovered that they have the power, to wield this kind of authority and affect people's behavior. But I, like you, You know, you and I suffer many years from smoke from fires, sometimes in Canada, that degrades the quality of life. And I would like to see that ended. But the idea that the place to end it is by telling you not to go into the woods and fining you if you do is preposterous. I'm not against the idea that if you are careless and it starts a fire, that the massive cost of fighting that fire partially belongs to you, right? I'm not against the idea of penalizing the actual behavior that we all suffer from, which is carelessness with fire. But the idea that walking in the woods, you know, well, if you're going to be walking in the woods, we can't stop you from starting fires. This is nonsense. Punish the behavior that's actually wrong. You have no right to stop people from walking on public lands. This is effectively a God-given right. And there is a question as to whether or not we are being tested to see what we will put up with. The claim that
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, the claim that this is an unprecedented circumstance, and that's why you're hearing unprecedented regulations. Bullshit. It's not unprecedented. Bad seasons, dry seasons, that's a feature of life.
Out of an abundance of caution, they're shutting down all of your access to walking.
Right, which, you know, is I mean, it's an obvious sign that something is tyrannical and out of control. And, you know, it does just feel shockingly reminiscent of the terrible COVID years and those exact things at the moment when, you know, a virus that wasn't capable of being transmitted outdoors was the reason for all of these regulations were being, you know, the trails are being closed, the beaches are being closed, exactly the place where you should be, the place where you'd be making vitamin D. So, yeah, it's remarkable, and I think it means something.
Yes.
The problem is we don't know what it means. I don't even have the sense that the people who are doing it know what it means. It could be local pettiness. It could be something larger, but we are obligated to reject this and to defend those who do.
Yes.